Test has seen the toss happen and New Zealand have opted to bat on what is a very dry, sluggish Pune wicket. Not as bad as it may seem. 7 years ago that was dished out against Australia in the BGT. But the Indian playing 11, now this is where you are going to see some big debate happening. But then said New Zealand batting first, advantage the Kiwis, or do you think India can fight back?
Well, it does look like advantage to the Kiwis here, because opting to bat first in Pune is definitely going to be a good thing for New Zealand. Probably New Zealand's best chance to secure another win in India, and probably a series win after 2012, something that England only achieved in India 12 years ago. No team has ever been able to do that ever since. But then I think, yeah, good chance for New Zealand. The good thing is that, they're batting till number 8, because Mitchell Santner has come in for Matt Henry, who is out with a groin niggle. But then I think, yeah, this is something that the New Zealand openers would look to cash in on. And to be very honest, this is an ideal opportunity for someone like a Tom Latham to get back into form, whose recent run hasn't been very inconsistent of late.
I mean, see, the playing 11, we'll come to that in a bit shortly, but there are surprises. As Siddharth pointed out, in the New Zealand team, there's only one change, no Matt Henry.
A forced change.
Yeah, because he suffered a glute niggle. He's had a glute niggle, so that basically means that he had to miss out on this. Otherwise, there was a debate that maybe Tim Southee might sit out and get in another spinner. So you have Rachin, Ejaz, Mitchell Santner and Glenn Phillips as your 4 spinners, and then you have your 2 pacers in Will O'Rourke and Tim Southee.
Yeah.
But on the Indian team now, 3 major changes have happened. One, Shubman Gill is back, as anticipated that he would be back. So Shubman is back, he will slot back into the number 3 slot. Virat goes back to number 4. But the major talking point is no KL Rahul. KL Rahul has been dropped from this test match, and you always figured out that yes, there would be a Damocles sword. How could you drop somebody who scored 150 in the previous test and then retain somebody who just managed a total of 22 runs in the 2 innings?
Yeah.
Another change, and this is also going to be up for debate, we'll be putting up the playing 11s very shortly. No Kuldeep Yadav, who looked the best of the spinners. But because of New Zealand's left-handed, if you look at the top order that's there and also the lower middle order, there is one more off-spinner in Washington Sundar. So basically these 3 changes means that New Zealand bat until number 8, India bat till number 9. You can also say they bat until number 10, because no Mohammad Siraj, Akash Deep is in. So Jasprit Bumrah and Akash Deep are your 2 pacers, followed by Washington Sundar, Ravindra Jadeja and Ravichandran Ashwin, your 3 other spinners in the Indian cricket team. So, big decision taken.
Absolutely. See, I'm not really surprised with the decision to leave out Mohammad Siraj. I think it's a good call. You want to rest him. You know that he's going to be one of your premier bowlers come the Border Gavaskar Trophy. So, a good time to rest him so that he can, get his mind fresh and then return probably for the Mumbai test that's going to begin from November 1st. He's actually had a rough year, after that 6-wicket haul that he took against South Africa. Has managed only 19 wickets in 8 test matches so far this year. So a good time for him to rest. In case of Kuldeep Yadav, I think once again he has been hard done by. Not the first time it has happened, and definitely not the last time. He should have been persisted with, but you know that New Zealand lineup is going to have a total of 4 left-handers in their top 8. You're going to have Tom
This
Latham,
is the playing 11 that's there.
Latham, Devon Conway, Rachin Ravindra, and it's going to be Mitchell Santner, who's probably going to bat at number 7 or number 8, and most likely it's going to be number 8. So to have Washington Sundar is definitely to mean that you want to have an extra batter in your lineup. But then even before this test also, India usually used to have batting till number 8. So having an extra batter at number 9, it does not really make any sense. Number 2, Ashwin, I'm sure is fully fit. So to have another off spinner in your playing 11, this in a way also does not really make any sense. So maybe is it more of a panic move that India have made, knowing that couple of New Zealand's left-handers are in good form, and to negate their impact, you want to have a Washington Sundar?
No, not really, because see, I can understand the rationale of now having a Washington Sundar in for two reasons. One, if Ashwin doesn't get you, Sundar might get you, okay? And then his batting. Most likely his batting capability is like a insurance buffer. Like, okay, if Ashwin in the first test in Bengaluru he failed, so Washington Sundar will be there as a buffer for you. So, this is India's 11. Now, Yashasvi Jaiswal, Rohit Sharma. Shubman Gill will bat at number 3 now, so that sorts out India's one conundrum that hurt them in Bengaluru.
Exactly.
Whatever way you look at it, this hurt them. Virat Kohli, Rishabh Pant, there was a very good news that Pant was passed fit for the Pune test and that's why he was going to play in that.
Yeah.
Sarfaraz, most likely it will be a swap, he'll bat at 5 and Pant will be at 6. Yeah. Ravindra Jadeja, Washington Sundar, Ravichandran Ashwin, Akash Deep and Jasprit Bumrah. Now in this lineup, you basically have 4 bowlers who can bowl very well to the left-handers. Akash Deep, if you saw his performances in the Bangladesh series, he really troubled the left-handers a lot. His first spell that you're going to see with humid conditions that's there in Pune, he might get some swing of the air. So that is why Akash Deep, Jasprit Bumrah, you saw how Bumrah troubled both Conway and Latham in the second innings in Bengaluru. So these 4 guys, Washington Sundar, Ravichandran Ashwin anyway have a good record against left-handers, so let's see how they progress. Maybe you might not see with the left-handers in action, you may not see much of Ravindra Jadeja. With all of them, there are about 4 right-handers in the New Zealand team, they can do it.
Yeah.
But the big debate is on no KL Rahul. Now what is the signal that you're sending to KL Rahul? Like, okay, Sarfaraz has grabbed his spot.
Yeah.
So that is why now Sarfaraz might be a certainty, more for Australia than for, or is Sarfaraz only for the home tests, KL is for away series? What is the message that the Indian team management has sent?
See, I don't really know if that is going to be the case that India would want to go forward, that you have Sarfaraz for home test matches and KL for overseas. Not sure if that's really going to be the thing, but if there's someone who has scored 150 in his previous test innings, how do I as a coach just go up to that player and tell him, boss, you're not going to play the next test?
I mean,
that's the thing with Sarfaraz Khan. Had he scored around 50 or 60 or another 50 plus score, things would have been different. I would have persisted with KL Rahul. He scored 150, probably took you to a situation where India could make a match out of it in Bengaluru. It was because of his knock only. So I think to have Sarfaraz Khan is a result of, you know, his hard work and his performances that he has put in test cricket this year, not just his 150 that he had, but the multiple 50s that he scored against England in his debut series.
Yeah, that is also true. But then remember, Sarfaraz capitalized on the opportunity when KL and Shreyas were both either injured or dropped, okay, in that England series.
So that Devdutt Padikkal, who isn't far away from a call-up.
But he isn't in the squad at this point in time. So, looking at it, KL Rahul's omission, yet again, see, everybody will say that he scored 100 in the Sena countries. But everybody at the same time also points out his low average.
Yeah.
Okay. Sarfaraz has started well in India. Okay. But tougher tests await him in the BGT. Okay. Sarfaraz, yes, he made the selector's life much more complicated by ensuring he scored a 150. Okay. So, lot of people are saying, how can you drop him?
Yeah.
I was the one looking at past Indian management thinking that, see, if a triple centurion can be dropped, and for someone like KL who's not been consistent, if he can be dropped after some match-winning knocks, then this is just another continuation of that. But seems as if it's not the continuation of the plan. They want to give Sarfaraz a prolonged run. Yes, he did show a lot of promise in the second innings. First innings he was undone by a very good catch from Devon Conway, so he fell for a duck. But 150 runs, yes, it was sealed that maybe KL could not have come in, could not have maintained the spot if Shubman was there. So Shubman came in, KL had to go out. So do you feel bad for KL Rahul? I know that many people will not be feeling bad about KL Rahul's omission, but do you feel bad for KL Rahul that he's been dropped?
Absolutely, I would. See, once again, he was starting to find some of his groove at a position wherein management wanted him to, you know, be there for at least.
And
sometime.
I will tell you why. Because in the press conference, Rohit Sharma had stated, we want to give KL an extended run.
That's what even Rant and Discata and Gautam Gambhir also said in their recent press conferences. See, KL began to bat at number 6 earlier this year. In fact, last year in December against South Africa when he scored that century. In the second test also, he batted at number 6. Then in the Hyderabad test against England, he scored 81 at the very same position. Against Bangladesh, I think he was very unfortunate that he could not really get to a 50 plus score in the second innings in Chennai. He was batting well at 22 because India then declared because they had a healthy lead. In the second match in Kanpur, it was because of his 60 odd that India could actually get a sizable lead so as to make sure that they could bundle Bangladesh out once again, and that's what they did. So maybe, you can say that it's a very harsh decision. But then it's kind of a bittersweet feeling for me, to be very honest, because it's difficult for me to leave out a guy who is batted at, who scored 150 in his previous test. So someone had to be dropped, and I think as Shashwat also clearly pointed that if there's anyone who is actually at a position wherein, if he does not perform well in a couple of matches and he would be dropped, he would be the first one to be dropped. It's KL Rahul.
He is the low-hanging fruit. I mean, when you look at it, whenever somebody needs to be dropped, you see, kids always throw stones at certain fruits so that they can easily be picked up from the tree.
Yeah.
It's KL Rahul in that sense. Because KL, whatever he does at this point in time, there will always be very differing spectrums. I mean, many people, I would say, safely, I would say in a majority, are kind of happy that yes, KL Rahul is out. Because he's not justified his performances in the past 1 year. Whatever you may say of the Sena countries, even in the Sena countries, there is a dark underbelly in that. Let's not mince words in that. Despite his hundreds, he doesn't have a 50 plus or a 60 plus average in many countries. South Africa, he may have an average of about 35, 40 if I'm not mistaken, but he's still, that's not good enough. Australia, despite that 100, he still has only a 20. England, he's hit 200s, wherein also 35, 40-ish. Exactly. It's a very middling, that kind of a zone wherein whether you have to support him, whether you cannot support him, that is the case. So, KL out, but I would feel bad for another person. Yet again, if KL Rahul sums up the frustration for batting, it's Kuldeep Yadav for bowling.
Chinaman.
How many times will we see Kuldeep after a good performance get dropped? He was your standout bowler in Bengaluru.
He was.
And KL is out. I mean, Kuldeep is out. Another KL Rahul is out. Kuldeep Yadav is out. What does he need to do to cement his spot?
See, I think as far as Kuldeep being left out is concerned, I think we are probably going to have an exhaustive chat on it once the day ends. Today we'll probably see, what kind of an impact a certain Washington Sundar makes with his, with the red cherry in his hand. So I think that's something that remains to be seen. But once again, very harsh on Kuldeep because come the Border Gavaskar Trophy, I would want him to be India's premier spinner because that in BGT in Australian conditions, I don't really see India going in with a certain R Ashwin or maybe a couple of spinners for that matter. So just to make sure that Kuldeep, who is going to be India's best bet in Australia, I don't think it really bodes well for his confidence, knowing that he did well in the Bengaluru test but had to be left out for some reason that I'm not really able to understand completely. As far as bringing back Washington Sundar is concerned.
Well, let's take a couple of comments. Sir, have you seen Santner's test stats? They are very, very poor. Yeah, I mean, they are poor. I mean, when you look at his bowling in particular, it's not been up to the mark. And also in his batting, apart from, I think, 100 that he has scored, I think it's been a very big plateau that Santner's having. But then, what were the other options that they had when it came to the spinners? East Sodhi, but then again, East Sodhi is not the East Sodhi of 2018 and 19, wherein he had a bit of control, he had a bit of thing, but then unfortunately his form has really dipped off. So, Mitchell Santner, I think they want kind of an assurance that maybe he's a better bat than East Sodhi.
Yeah.
So, in that sense. So, Mark Goldridge is telling us if Akashdeep is considered a batter according to you guys, then Tim Southee is a batter too. Where did we disagree on that? Akashdeep can bat. I mean, he did show in that England test also. Southee's 65 in fact was more than the tail. Half of the tail combined in Bengaluru. When did we ever I mean, we have been always saying that Tim Southee is one of the greatest tail-enders, that lower order batters that we have ever seen.
And Akashdeep is a potent lower order batter. That's what he's shown in the debut test that he had against England also.
Which lower order batter scored 93 sixes? Tim Southee, if he scores another 7 sixes in the next 2 tests, and or maybe in the series versus England, he'll be the first lower order batter to get 100 sixes in test matches. That is how great Tim Southee is as a lower order bat. Ever since Napier, I've never considered Tim, but I think he's not done justice to his batting. He's a better bat than he is considered to be. Then have you Ashish Ranjan, why India never goes with any leg spinners? Well, I wish I've had an answer to that, because Kuldeep yet again was the star, but he still gets left out and you get another off spinner in. So 2 off spinners, maybe I think it's Washington's batting that gives them that assurance that maybe I can play 2 off spinners.
And I think case of India not having leg spinners, obviously there is a certain Yuzvendra Chahal who did not really play much of 4-day cricket or domestic cricket in the recent past, and that's why his case wasn't considered. And in case of Ravi Bishnoi, he's still very young, so probably he will be India's leg spinner in test cricket going forward.
Well, Ashish Ranjan saying, does this make any sense that you're saying one batsman for home test and another for away tests? Look, it has happened in the past. There are certain Sena specialists, there are some home specialists. Even in that sense.
Let's just go back 3-4 years here. Rishabh Pant was considered to be a Sena specialist, and
Riddhiman Saha.
On the other hand, you wanted Riddhiman Saha for the home test matches.
Exactly. There is a precedence, Ashish Ranjan, when you talk about the fact that yes, there are certain preferences. Some batters play well at home, some batters play away overseas. True. This is on the basis of seeing for a decade or so the changes that have happened. So it is not without any random logic that we have picked up that yes, this is the case. It's come out of basis. It will not happen. See, both Sarfaraz and KL are making it to the BGT, but whether who starts in the playing 11, that is a different debate altogether. Exactly. So in that sense, this is going to be the case. Then one more thing, so many keyboard warriors are happy. Sportsfan is saying, because KL is not. I mean, that's the trend here. See, certain players draw a lot of criticism from keyboard warriors that are there on social media. It's their happy day today, so let them rejoice. When he does well, let the others rejoice. That's how this country operates in that sense. So
I would want to see their reactions, assuming Sarfaraz Khan is not able to do well in this test.
Rishabh Jha, there has been no pressure applied by the media. Let's make one thing very clear here. What you're saying here is a very lazy opinion. I'll tell you why. Because there are people who watch in the dressing room, there are people who watch Indian cricket from real close quarters. Media does only part of the thing, but they do not go behind the functioning of how it is. So that media pressurized them to do all this, no. There was already a big debate. It depended on which side of the debate you were on. So basically, see, keyboard warriors, Gautam Gambhir has also said that yes, social media doesn't influence our decision making. I don't know how true is that. Maybe it might be true. But KL Rahul, we base our opinion on the fact that Rohit Sharma had stated we want to give KL a decent run at number 6. This happened not 1 year ago, not 2 years ago, not 3 years ago. It happened 3 days ago in Bengaluru. Now on the basis of that, suddenly this changes. That's how fickle Indian cricket is. That's how fickle the trends are. That's how the problem of a good headache you have at this point in time. So media had nothing to do with it. If you want to take credit that social media has done all this, go ahead, take credit. But we don't take credit. We just report things that we have said, that we have done what people have said. There was no agenda that was been peddled. So in that way, this is how we are looking at it. So we are about to start. Another 2 minutes, we'll start the match. So what do you think? Ideal situation for New Zealand, or do you think Akashdeep and Siraj will run through the top order?
I think it's ideal situation for New Zealand. Right time for Tom Latham to get back into form. Ideal conditions for him, for that matter. But the first session once again is going to be key, because if India can manage to sneak in about 4 or 5 wickets, then you're back in the series.
I think that is what's going to happen, because I don't see Latham coming back to form in this test, because he's been really struggling, and there is a reason. Bumrah and Akashdeep will want to utilize the best of the conditions for them to bowl on, because in India, the first hour of the first session is always the most important. If New Zealand are 3 or 4 down, game over then. India will want 3-4 wickets at max in the first session. After that, the pitch stabilizes. Every day, the first session is always going to be vital. Your first session will move the test match in a big way. So I think India will not be too disheartened, but if New Zealand survive the first session and just are say 1 or 2 down, then India might start to sweat a bit. So onus is on Latham and Conway. Conway was good in the Bengaluru test, so let's see how that plans out to be. So I see India taking 4 wickets at least in the first session. For more detailed analysis, we have the post-match where we'll have our full strength panel where we'll discuss the nuances of what this test match has gone through so far on day 1. But even bigger question, are we seeing a 5-day test?
I don't think so. It's going to be a 4-day test.
I think so too, because Pune, it might crumble, and with the sun beating down and with the weather fine for all the remaining days.
It's going to be partly cloudy on all 5 days of the test, but not really major threat of rain.
Nah, there's not much threat of rain. So I think it is advantage New Zealand for toss, but I think India can fight back and take 4-5 wickets today. So join us for the post-match. Whatever updates are there, we'll be bringing you a lot more videos from Sports Today. Tap that bell icon so you know when we go live. Subscribe and don't forget to like and share as well from me and Sid Gulati. It is bye-bye. See you, and we'll be back for the post-match. Join us for that either at 4:30 or 5, depending on the overs. Bye-bye.